Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Naghizadeh from CENESTA, Center for Sustainable Development from Iran. CENESTA works with indigenous nomadic tribes and local communities, and its core mandate and mission is re-empowering these communities and their customary institutions in different aspects. As the time is very short, I would like to share some of the most important challenges and various experiences on different aspects of restoration the ancestral territories of indigenous nomadic pastoralists of Iran. Iran is a vast country, lies on the world's arid belt. About 85% of its land comprises rangelands, forests, and deserts. Remarking that mobile pastoralists are spread over 30 million hectares of the country's rangelands, which is nearly 35% of the total rangelands. The population of Iran estimated about 80 million in 2016, of which 2% of the total is belong to mobile pastoralists in various ethnic groups. This slide shows the socio-economic, ecological, and conservation values of mobile pastoralists for your more information and show their contribution to local and national economy in different aspects. The following figure highlights policy and political changes of the last century with important impact on indigenous and local communities' governance systems of natural resources, impact on the rights of pastoralists over their territories, and weakening their customary institutions. These policies relied on imported development styles, in particular through induced and forced sedentarization by Reza Shah since 1925 for 2 decades, and then in 1960s largely grabbing their common property through agrarian reform and nationalization of forests and rangelands. In result, these are some of the most important challenges in indigenous nomadic tribes' territories. Challenges such as destruction of rangelands by expanding agricultural lands, agribusiness complexes, factories, military purposes, extractive industries, and etc. In response to these challenges, CENESTA started participatory action research with indigenous peoples and local communities in a participatory process. In this process, they identified their own current predicament. They drew their historical timeline and problem tree. They developed their own vision of the desirable future. And they developed a roadmap, strategies, and action plan in short-term, mid-term, and long-term processes for getting from here to there. This process assisted them categorize the most important problems and issues that need fundamental attention and provide opportunities to decide the future of their territories and its resources through re-empowerment, capacity building, and recognition of customary institutions of indigenous nomadic tribes of Iran. Strong efforts are being made within indigenous nomadic tribes, and this has been achieved through social and economic strengthening of governing institutions and establishment and recognition of community-based organizations at sub-tribe, tribe, and tribal confederacy levels, as well as establishing their strong national federations such as UniNomad and UniCamel at national levels. This is a view of re-empowerment process within community women. These recognized entities represent the interest of indigenous peoples and local communities and interact with policymakers and government authorities in promoting better understanding, recognition, and support of their territorial integrity via their own governance systems. At the same time, they have unique and louder voice that are better listened and play a major role to influencing policies and reclaiming their rights over their territories and its resources through effective dialogue and collaboration with the state agencies and other stakeholders. Prepared participatory GIS maps by CENESTA facilitators and community members has been used to identify the threats and occupations within their territories using different techniques and methods such as P-mapping, Google Earth, to assist them to develop the restitution plan and legal support program as a step forward for reclaiming invaded territories of the tribes for restoration. This shows the 9 territorial ICCA grouping as a pilot operation supported by various government agencies, the European Commission and UNDP, GEF, SGP, and IUCN. And this is one example of participatory GIS map of Qashqai Tribal Confederacy indicating summering and wintering territories, migratory routes, stopovers, invaded lands for different purposes, and government-protected areas. And some slides on participatory designed and implemented projects within different tribes and tribal confederacies within the country. In support of these projects, there is a high level of collaboration has been happened among different stakeholders and right holders. Some samples on community-driven projects on restoration of their territories in midpoint, summering grounds, or wintering grounds. Another sample in central desert of Iran. Another one in west of Iran in Farrokhand Tribal, Bakhtiyari Tribal Confederacy. And this is the summit of the indigenous peoples and local communities. Another sample in northwest of Iran. Another one on ICCA-based ecotourism in Qashqai Tribal Confederacy. All these have played a major role in moving forward in recognition on the indigenous pastoralist territories as ICCAs, in which has been included in Article 38 of the 6th Development Plan of the country for the years 2015 to 2018 for the action. Finally, samples of the overall outcomes and results for your review. I would like to add, today, despite the attacks received and the losses suffered in nomadic pastoralist territories, these communities are still alive and are making serious efforts to restore the integrity of their customary territories and ICCAs to prevent its further fragmentation and do their best to develop sustainable and productive management system for their fragile territories. And at the same time, since the government authorities took charge, however, an obvious degradation of natural resources, particularly in forests and rangelands, has been happened. It is not clear to most of the policymakers that a different approach is needed, one that is based on the real participation and collaboration of recognized customary institutions and governance system of indigenous and local communities of the country. Thanks for your attention.